Welcome to The Explainer. If you're focused on truly understanding the deep undercurrents of global politics, well, you're exactly in the right place. Today, we're unpacking an absolutely fascinating, high-stakes diplomatic paradox that's unfolding right now in the Middle East. It's literally a masterclass in geopolitical survival, and we're going to break the whole thing down. Okay, let's dive into this with a pretty bold statement. Every Gulf state is playing both sides. Now, when you first hear that, it sounds a lot like a betrayal, doesn't it? It sounds like double dealing. But actually, when we dive into the sources and look at the harsh realities of this region, it's not treachery at all. It's an incredibly smart, highly calculated survival strategy. Section 1. Playing both sides. You know, to truly grasp what's happening over there right now, we really have to look past the surface-level alliances that just dominate the daily news cycle. There is a massive, undeniable contrast between the facade these Gulf nations present to the world and the quiet reality of their day-to-day diplomacy. On one side, you've got absolute public solidarity with Washington, but on the exact same token, on the other side, a shadow network of continuous private backchannels straight to Tehran. It's a very deliberate split screen. Section 2. The Public American Alliance. So let's break down that split screen, starting with the very public, very crucial alliance with the United States. This is the side of the equation we're all meant to see clearly, right? Publicly, the alignment is rock solid. Nations like Saudi Arabia haven't just been sitting on the sidelines, they've actively encouraged military strikes against regional threats. And consider the physical footprint. It's massive. The UAE, Qatar, and Bahrain are physically housing the U.S. military. They are the absolute logistics backbone for Operation Epic Fury. When the cameras are rolling, it's a united front showing total, unquestionable public solidarity with U.S. objectives. Section 3. The Private Iranian Backchannels. Let's move to and see how this builds, because behind closed doors, every single one of these states is intensely hedging their bets. We can just rapid-fire the evidence here. Qatar is really leaning into its traditional mediation role, hosting early discussions. Oman was mediating talks just this past February, actually coming close to brokering a major deal. And over in the UAE, despite all the international sanctions, Dubai is quietly keeping robust economic ties alive, hosting one of the Gulf's largest Iranian business communities. Even Saudi Arabia, which is long considered Washington's firmest regional ally, is making absolutely sure its diplomatic channels to Tehran stay wide open. But to understand the psychology buffering why they're doing this, we need to rewind to the year 1990. For nations like Kuwait, the invasion of 1990 isn't just history, it is a vivid generational trauma. The harsh lesson learned that year was brutally simple. You fundamentally cannot trust any regional or global power to protect you permanently without having your own backup plan. Section 4. Geography dictates survival strategy. And this brings us to the absolute core question. Why play this incredibly risky game at all? Well, the answer actually isn't about shifting loyalties. It's all about geography. Wars end, geography doesn't. I really want to let that sink in for a second. If you take away just one concept from this entire explainer today, let it be that. That single, striking phrase literally explains the entire modern geopolitical strategy of the Middle East. So the crucial point is this. No matter who wins a military conflict or how much firepower the U.S. brings to Operation Epic Fury, eventually, the last American aircraft carrier is going to sail home. But Iran won't. Iran will still be right across the water. Their ballistic missiles will still be permanently in range of Riyadh, Abu Dhabi, and Doha. Their proxies will still be operating in Iraq, Yemen, and Lebanon. The Gulf states have to live in Iran's neighborhood forever. For them, hedging isn't some optional diplomatic tactic, it's a geographical mandate. And the stakes go way beyond just military threats. They're deeply, deeply economic. Think about the year 2030 and Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. Even the Saudis, who historically have been the most hawkish voices against Iran, are actively hedging right now. Why? Well, because Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's massive economic overhaul desperately requires regional stability. Think about it. You simply cannot attract trillions in foreign investment if your neighborhood is an active war zone with unpredictable, prolonged conflicts. It just won't happen. Section 5. The High Stakes of Discovery. Now, as brilliant as this survival strategy is, it's essentially a fragile house of cards. Consider for a moment the sheer scale of the fallout here. What happens if these carefully maintained secret backchannels are suddenly exposed? Exposed in a way that Washington simply cannot ignore. What if this whole delicate balancing act collapses entirely? Our sources highlight a very specific, imminent risk here. If the United States, specifically under a figure like Donald Trump, who is known for transactional, hardline diplomacy, discovers the full depth of these communications, the reaction could be severe. Much like the naughty or nice list ultimatums we've seen with NATO, the US could force the Gulf states into a corner, basically demanding they permanently choose sides. And forcing that choice, it would shatter the hedging strategy and could trigger catastrophic regional instability. And this brilliantly illustrates the completely impossible trap these leaders are in. On one side, a nuclear-armed Iran is absolutely terrifying for Gulf security, which is exactly why they supported U.S. military objectives in the first place. But on the other hand, getting dragged into a prolonged conventional war completely destroys their economic future and mega initiatives like Vision 2030. They are navigating directly between a rock and a very hard place. Ultimately, what this all boils down to is the cold, rational calculus of a region caught right in the middle. Keeping that diplomatic exit door to Tehran open isn't a betrayal of the United States, not at all. It's the highly sophisticated survival strategy of a region that fully understands a difficult truth. A superpower visits, but neighbors stay. Which leaves us with one massive, lingering question. How long can these Gulf states keep that exit door open before someone, either in Washington or Tehran, forces it shut for good? I'd really love to hear your theories on this, so please drop your thoughts in the comments below. And definitely don't forget to subscribe, because in our next explainer, we're breaking down India's impossible choice. See you then!